This is an article I found while browsing the news on the internet. It's on Miss Magazine. Yeah, I know. That's pretty much a guarantee that it'll be balanced and unbiased, isn't it? So, let's see what all this is about. Department of Justice sues Pennsylvania State Police for sex discrimination. Wow, this seems serious. The U.S. Department of Justice filed a federal lawsuit against the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the Pennsylvania State Police last week, alleging that the state police has engaged in a pattern and practice of employment discrimination against women. Yeah, this is serious. Let's see how it continues. They might actually have a serious complaint here. In its suit, the Department of Justice alleges that the Pennsylvania State Police excluded qualified women from consideration as entry-level troopers by requiring candidates to pass a physical fitness test that did not test for physical skills necessary to perform the job. Well, two things jump to mind right away. First of all, if they did not pass a physical fitness test, then they were not qualified. So why is it talking about excluding qualified women? Also, what is this test anyway? I mean, it does not test for physical skills necessary to perform the job? Well, let's have a look at what this test actually is. So, here is their site. Pretty bland, pretty institutional, I suppose. Pretty much what you would expect. The interesting part is the employment page, where they have a link to a PDF containing a detailed description of the physical fitness test. Let's have a look at it. I don't know, this list seems quite underwhelming, but I mean, if the Department of Justice says that these do not test for physical skills necessary to perform the job, they must have a reason. Let's see what the rest of the PDF says. Vertical jump. This is a test of lower body explosive power. It is an important factor for pursuit tasks that require vaulting or jumping. Well, this must not be it. I mean, this is actually reasonable. Also, if you have a look at the requirement, 14 inches is the height of a bucket, and you get 3 attempts. Can't really expect prospective police officers not to be able to jump over a bucket. Come on. Illinois Agility Run. The Agility Run is a measure of coordinated movement and speed. It is an important area for performing tasks requiring quick movements around obstacles. Well, again, I mean, it's not as if pursuits are going to happen on clear running tracks. So, I mean, it's quite relevant. Again, this must not be it. 300-meter run. This is a measure of anaerobic capacity. It is an important factor exerting short bursts of effort will, I think this might be a typo, while engaged in pursuit tasks. Yeah, well, yes, obviously. I mean, if you're running after a person, you're running after a person. And here too, the requirement is pretty low. I mean, 77 seconds. That's 1 minute and a quarter to run 300 meters. Push-ups. This is a measure of the muscular endurance of the upper body extensor. This is an important area for many tasks, including use of force, lifting, carrying and pushing. Well, okay, the police do have a bad reputation regarding the use of force, but even the best intentioned policeman will have to use force at some time. They do have to lift and carry equipment and stuff. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Also, again, requirements. 13 push-ups without time limit? Seriously? Come on, is that really that hard? 1.5 mile run. This is a measure of cardiovascular endurance or aerobic capacity. This is foundation for almost all physical tasks, including pursuits, administering CPR, climbing stairs, providing aid to the injured, and use of force situations lasting more than 2 minutes. Again, this seems entirely relevant. After all, If you have to exert yourself for more than 2 minutes, you need to be able to exert yourself for more than 2 minutes. Also, I did a few calculations. I mean, again, the requirements are really low. 17 minutes and 48 seconds. That's almost walking speed. I mean, if you can't walk for 1.5 miles, well, what business have you being in the police? Well, I really don't see what the problem is. These requirements are not higher for women. I mean, they're not higher for men either. They're in fact equal. Also, they seem to be particularly low. I can't see anyone that isn't dramatically out of shape having particular trouble in passing all those tests. But maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go back to the article and see what it has to say. Maybe it has some explanation to shed light on this issue. The DOJ is seeking a court order to end to the physical fitness test and require defendants to provide make-whole relief, including back pay with interest, offers of employment, retroactive seniority, and other benefits to women who have suffered losses or will suffer losses because of the state's police policies. A spokesperson for the current governor, Tom Corbett, said lawyers for the state are reviewing the DOJ's lawsuit. I would have thought the physical fitness would have been quite an important aspect of police work. Also, why just women? Why should just women gain seniority for not passing a physical test? Now, using the Miss Magazine as a source was a bit of a red herring. I was kind of messing with you. The problem is that Serious News has taken this seriously. I'll use as an example the Washington Post. Now, I won't comment on the whole article because I'm particularly interested in this snippet, but I will put in the description a link to the full article as well as other news sources so you can go and make up your own mind. But this is quite sufficient for the point that I'd like to make. From 2003 to 2008, applicants for an entry-level trooper position had to successfully pass tests that included a 300-meter run, sit-ups, push-ups, blah 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 blah. About 94% of men passed that test, while only 71% of women could say the same. That difference, the Justice Department alleges, is statistically significant. Since 2009, the state has administered a modified version of that test, and 98% of men passed it, while only 72% of women did. Again, that was a statistically significant difference. Now, while it might be a statistically significant difference, I would say that it is entirely irrelevant to being a police officer. If you need to run, you need to run, and a criminal won't run slower if you're a woman. If you need to block someone, they won't be more gentle just because it's a woman trying to block them. Okay, maybe these physical tests won't be directly relevant to police work, although, as I've shown, they are kind of connected. But really, shouldn't we be expecting the same from men and women? Isn't that what equality is all about? I would have thought that feminists would have been happy to have exactly the same test for men and women, instead of having women easier access and being considered needing of help. After all, aren't women men's equals? Well, apparently not. Apparently, feminists are saying that women are inferior, and without removing these tests, they won't be able to become policemen. Sounds pretty misogynistic to me, but whatever. Another thing I'd like to consider. As I've shown, these tests are rather, well, let's use the word easy. So what does that really say of the quality of participants? Not so much the men, with 98% success rate, that's not really surprising. More about the women that are participating. However women may be slower and weaker than men, I sincerely cannot believe that so few manage to pass the bar. I really think that says a lot more about the quality of the female entrants rather than any kind of discrimination they might have been suffering. And it's also a good indication of the sense of entitlement that these women have, who feel justified in demanding entrance in the police force. And, well, the Department of Justice is kind of justifying that sense of entitlement by suing the police force.